The Salvation Army started in 1865 and is actively ministering in 118 countries today. For the next few minutes, we will be looking specifically at the ministry of the Salvation Army in the Eastern Europe territory, which includes the countries of Russia, Ukraine, Georgia, Moldova, and Romania. The Salvation Army's work was initiated in Russia in 1910 and continued on and off until February 1923, when the Salvation Army had to completely close its operations and leave the country. Salvation Army activities were recommenced in Russia in July 1991, and work extended to Ukraine and Georgia in 1993. Moldova in 1994, and Romania in 1999. These 5 countries formed the Eastern Europe territory, one of our USA Central Territory partners in mission. Geographically, the Eastern Europe territory is the largest Salvation Army territory in the world. And while each of the 5 countries has countless blessings, they each also have unique challenges. Let's see how life in Eastern Europe compares to life in the United States.
The United Nations suggests a minimum of 5.2 gallons of clean water per person per day for drinking and personal hygiene. In Romania, 43% of people do not have access to 5.2 gallons of clean water per day.
When an American person showers for 5 minutes, he is using 15 to 25 gallons of water, more water than is available to hundreds of millions of people living in areas of the developing world.
Ukraine is experiencing one of the fastest growing HIV epidemics in the world, and during the last 5 years, the HIV prevalence rate has increased more than 20 times in that country. It is estimated that 1.4% of Ukrainians aged between 15 and 49 are living with HIV.
According to the Centers for Disease Control, the AIDS epidemic in the U.S. has been roughly stable since the late 1990s.
20% of people in Moldova live on less than $2 per day.
In the U.S., 17% of the adult population consumes a gourmet coffee beverage on a daily basis. These gourmet coffees cost between $2 and $4 each.
28 million people in Eastern Europe are experiencing chronic hunger.
34% of Americans are obese. Russia is a major source of women trafficked globally for the purpose of sexual exploitation.
Annually, thousands of Russian women end up as prostitutes in over 50 countries.
Some of these Russian women have been trafficked to the United States, where they are still living in forced labor situations.
In Ukraine, the average weekly wage is $50.70.
In the United States, an individual working 40 hours at minimum wage earns $290 weekly.
When Jesus spoke again to the people, he said, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life." The Salvation Army in the Eastern Europe territory is helping to meet the spiritual and material needs of its people through various ministries in its 80 different churches and social services centers, including feeding programs, after-school programs, food and clothing distribution, hair cutting programs, home care programs, homeless children outreach, marriage preparation classes, medical programs, World Services donations from the USA Central Territory help make programs such as this possible and allow God's light to be shared with those in need. Dear children, let us not love with words or tongue, but with actions and in truth.